Minister to the nation in Turkey's sphere of influence. After receiving a ceremonial welcome, PM Modi was accorded the highest honor of Cyprus, the Grand Cross of the Order of the Makario III. This will mark Prime Minister Modi's 23rd global honor. Other nations include Afghanistan, Saudi Arabia, Palestine, Bahrain, Maldives, UAE, Greece, France, Egypt, Kuwait, Nigeria, Russia, Sri Lanka, and Mauritius. This visit comes following Turkey's support for Pakistan's during Operation Sindoor. Cyprus is a crucial part of the India, Middle East and Europe corridor, or the IMEAC, and is engaged in territorial disputes with Turkey, aligns with Bharat to strengthen ties with nations opposing Turkish regional influence. Now, Cyprus has consistently supported Bharat's positions on Jammu and Kashmir, on cross-border terrorism, on the UN Security Council reforms, and also reinforcing Bharat's diplomatic stance in international forum. But while Prime Minister Narendra Modi is raising Bharat's stature, the Congress closer home is cooking a cauldron of controversies. A key Rahul Gandhi aide has been accused of insulting the braves of Galwan, calling the Galwan clash as the original surrender. So far, the Congress party officially has not distanced itself from this statement. Meanwhile, Rahul Gandhi has been accused of not giving Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose the due respect when he was garlanding the statue, a statue that was being unveiled there and set there in his former constituency. Many pointing out that flowers are not offered with the left hand, even comparing it with Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji's tribute to Netaji himself. The attitude in the body language is very clear, how the garland is just put, and then you see how the hand goes and how the flower is just dropped there like that. So that's the whole attitude being questioned. And is that disrespectful, condescending, perhaps not understanding the weight of an icon like Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose? Many people have questioned this. Meanwhile, a political storm continues to brew in Kerala over the Jamaat-e-Islami support for the Congress-led United Democratic Front in the upcoming Nilambur bypoll. Now, while the Congress, officially the UDF, has sought to defend or distance themselves from the support, there has been opposition from within the Congress party itself, with the Catholic wing or the Catholic grouping within the Kerala Congress very unhappy with this. The BJP accusing both of compromising national interest for electoral gains. Now, with these litany of controversies, if the Congress is on back foot when it comes to garnering public interest, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi is busy furthering Bharat's cause, case and stature, who should the people trust? Charu Pragya, spokesperson of the BJP with us, Shyam Prasad Meka, leader of the Congress party with us, Anand Ranganathan, author with us. My namaste and Jai Hind to everybody. Thank you very, very much. Do you believe, Shyam Prasad Meka ji, that Galwan is the original surrender?
See, somebody put some tweet. I am not here to defend or endorse all those tweets. I speak about my party's stand, and I speak for myself. Who is this guy? I don't even know him. So okay. So we pick up something from the social media. We pick up some photograph with some big leaders, and make a huge issue out of it. Don't be childish. We need to grow up. So that's the one issue. Second, so about, again, this is also a similar issue, like the garlanding thing. Come on, you know better than that. You know better than that. If we want to do a drama, there are people who does the drama, there are people who does it honestly. Okay, so it's not about, okay, while putting the flowers, one hand is where, one hand is where. What kind of political discourse we are doing? We should be talking about our issues. Let's do politics. Let's do that discourse on the political issues. Whose image is better? Who shall we trust? So what do you mean to say? People should not trust anybody from Congress? It's not the question. We trust everybody, we trust Indians, we trust Indian system. That's the premise on which we operate. So that's the premise which you are trying to tear down into pieces.
Okay, Shyamprasad Mekhaji, the question is, whom should the people of Bharat trust, public trust, with respect to furthering Bharat's interests? Now,
Every other Indian.
Okay, I didn't interrupt you.
Yeah.
May I complete? Then I'll go to the other panelists also. Actions speak louder than words. A picture speaks 1,000 words. Now, these pictures say something. Actions, attitude, approach mean something. The other aspect you totally moved away. The aspect of brazen political appeasement and accepting the support of a party that was hailing and celebrating Ajmal Kasab along with the others. How does that escape? How can somebody, an entity which is endorsing all this, does not bother? This person who you said is some random person has Rahul Gandhi's picture there on his profile picture and claims to be a very serious party worker. He hails from the Andhra region, Andhra Telangana region, and he has put that. There is no clarification, no admonition from a party, which is something which is concerning. This despite the BJP's IT cell chief raising this up and highlighting it. So, for a party leader whose media cell chief knows every single detail of where the Prime Minister is, which country he is, where he's touched down, where he's landed, and there is an opinion of that which is per se. When this is put out, how did it escape notice? Is a question. Or did it not matter? That's why these questions have been asked. Charu Pragya, do you agree with Shyamprasad Mekha? Much ado about nothing. Very Shakespearean in his attitude. You're on mute, Charu Pragya.
My apologies, Anand. Good evening.
We are very
to
democratic.
you.
We don't suppress anybody's voice. Please go ahead.
Absolutely. Good evening. Namaste to everyone. Now, the issue here is, and the problem here is that even after 21 years in public life, if Rahul Gandhi cannot even manage to garland a national hero with respect, something's really wrong with him and with the Congress party for not pulling him from the position he's been enjoying. Because of what? Dynasty? Nothing else. And every time Modi ji travels abroad, Congress suffers from political FOMO. This is fear of Modi overseas. It's just that and nothing else. They do not understand equations. They do not understand geopolitics. They do not understand that India is a very important voice which connects the global north and the global south. We have emerged as a really strong nation, and whichever power table there is in the world, India has a strong place on it. But unfortunately, the only Congress still understands is Ghotala and Ghamand. That's about it. Even right now, the way they have gone on about a very important state visit, they forget to make this distinction between the leader of a political party and the leader of a nation. And it has happened too many times. Even this word surrender that Congress loves throwing around, it reeks of one, disrespect for our nation and our armed forces, to complete arrogance, because it's like you can say whatever you want and you get away with it time and time again, and nobody is pulled up for these kind of statements. And I take strong objection to it. Cyprus is important to India. We've had a long-standing relationship with Cyprus since independence, and it's even more important today, seeing that Cyprus is a key player in the relationship between Turkey and Pakistan. We have to be careful moving forward. We have to make sure that every time India speaks, it is taken with seriousness, and we cannot have our own opposition undermining our position in the world. It's shameful the way Congress does that.
Well, you've said a lot about the Congress party, but a certain president of a certain nation continues to argue that he is the one who weaponized trade to bring a pause on Operation Sindoor. And
Yes.
there has been nothing that's come from either the Prime Minister or the BJP or the Bharatiya state on it. State, when I say
They're
state, the
actually-
center on it.
Yes, but there actually has, Anand, because time and time again, our defense minister, our foreign minister, our foreign secretary, our DGMO, they have completely clearly said that this was a bilateral decision between India and Pakistan. No third country had anything to do with it. In fact, Trump seems to be shooting off his mouth because on May 15th, and I quote him, he said very clearly, I wish I could have taken credit for this ceasefire. I cannot, I must have helped. He said that on 15th of May. Now he changed his stance, his lines, his position on various things in his own country as well as outside our own country people.
Shyam Prasad Mikaji, before I bring in Dr. Ranganathan, who's been holding his counsel very patiently.
Okay, so first of all, let me congratulate the Prime Minister, our Prime Minister, for getting the highest civilian award from Cyprus. Now, the few questions you asked are, so it's not about the way you look at this debate, right? Why, the way our conversation is going is like as if only Modi ji is the only one who is fighting for the country and all others are not. That's okay. It may be.
Are they?
Let's not speak over each other. Let him make his point, and then you please.
Okay, I'd like to question that though.
Yeah, it's okay.
Sure.
Yeah. It may be tempting, very tempting politically, but remember, there is something called a collective consciousness. This country, our collective consciousness is what is going to be reflected by our governments also. We should be careful and should not be loosely using the words and the narratives, because I'm telling you right now, the problem of our country is our defense policy and our external affairs policy are being subservient to the domestic jingoism. That is my observation, which is actually a dangerous thing for this country.
Okay.
That's not the line we should take.
Okay,
Okay.
Let about the issues of the country.
I just want to, I have one small query, Shyam Prasad Mikaji, allow me this intervention. Is there a collective consciousness within the Congress party?
Yeah. Congress party believes.
How is it that the Catholic
Constitution of India is the collective consciousness of our party?
No, the Constitution of the Congress party has to be the collective consciousness of the Congress party functioning, and then it talks and it works in the interest of the country. So I am asking you, because the Kerala Catholic faction is upset with what the Congress is doing in via Nilambur bypolls. So where is the collective consciousness there?
Right, issues will come. We will handle those. These are political issues. This is not a national issue.
That's not an issue that very questions the grain of the conscience of the Congress party.
No. Why should there be a question on the grain of Congress? Congress
because
is the
are Catholics
most
not
patriotic
important?
Nationalistic party.
Are Catholic leaders within the Kerala Congress not important?
We don't see them as Catholic leaders, as Muslim leaders, as Hindu leaders. We don't see them like that. We see them as
but then how is it that you have not made a
congressmen.
single comment on Jamiyat? How is it that the collective conscience has prevented you, or is it the collective conscience that has prevented you from making a comment against the
We
Jamiyat?
are a political party. We want everybody to support us. That doesn't mean we will support them. If everybody are welcome to support us, that's why we are in elections, right? Why won't be?
No.
Why should we
you want elements who are inimical,
support.
whose ideas, whose thought processes is inimical to the entire unified, inclusive fabric of Bharat also to support you because you want to win an election, and that is not political jingoism.
No. When that topic comes, we will.
You just talked about political opportunism, and you said that our external affairs, our defense posture is all influenced by domestic jingoism. I am asking you, so your political compulsions are not engaging, you are not engaging in those people or entities who are inimical to Bharat and its own inclusive fabric.
It's not about creating your own enemies within the country and outside. That is the site.
Sir,
out of which we should grow.
This is like
That's
you have
exactly
you have a nice dole. If it is on your side, you will play this tune. If it is not, you will play another tune. Now you cannot play the dole from both sides and say, "Oh, this is how I play my politics." That's not fair. When it comes to the country, you have to have one single position. You cannot have anti-India sentiment. You cannot have anti-Bharatiya hero sentiment. Do you think Mr. Rahul Gandhi would have garlanded a statue of Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru or Mahatma Gandhi in the same way he garlanded or put flowers for Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose? Yeah, it's a one-word answer.
See, I'll tell
in
you,
your heart,
Anand,
in your
Anand,
own consciousness,
Anand,
you will know the
Anand.
answer to it.
Anand, I have attended hundreds of garlanding functions. I know how these things will happen, so don't make a big issue out of it. There is nothing. There is nothing.
Sir, respect is mandatory, ritual is optional. In this case, respect was not there. Respect was optional. The entire ritual was done as a mandatory ritual. That's the problem. Ritual is mandatory, sir. Respect is mandatory, sir. Ritual is optional. In this case, it was vice versa. That's what happened. Before I go back to Charu Pragya, Dr. Ranganathan, thank you for your patience.
Good evening, Anand, and good evening to my fellow panelists. I
hope whatever you submit is in a collective conscience.
And without jingoism.
Dear friend Charu is there, and so is Mr. Meka. But I have a couple of points to disagree with Mr. Meka. But to give Rahul the benefit of the doubt, I think it has to be said, yes, he did show disrespect to Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. But just, I think, a week ago, he showed equal disrespect to, in fact, Indira Gandhi, and he actually, with his shoes on, he threw some petals without a care at the statue of Indira Gandhi. I think it was in Bhopal. So, I think there's something wrong. He doesn't know how to act in public life when it comes to, behaving in front or paying obeisance to our, dear leaders. But to give him the benefit of the doubt, I think what Mr. Meka is saying might be true. It has to be also said that this is the same Congress whose Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru was snooping on Netaji. This is the same Congress that did not allow INA veterans to take part in the Republic Day parade for 65 years until Narendra Modi started that tradition in 2019, I think it was. But be that as it may, I want to come to the other point because I think that is more important. That was the nub of the issue. What is this brouhaha, constant brouhaha that opposition throws up whenever Modi does something? Now the latest controversy is, Cyprus and saying, oh, he's having fun out there. In the last 11 years, Anand, tell me one thing that Modi has done that has been appreciated by the opposition. One, they promoted defecation because they hated Modi's Swachh Bharat toilet making. They promoted obesity because they hated Modi's Fit India. They promoted oppressive dress code because they hated Modi's school uniform guidelines. For the opposition, it is a fact that Modi hatred has transmogrified into hatred for India. One hopes Modi doesn't wake up one day and recommend breathing in of clean air, or the opposition leaders will pick up axes in their thousands and begin chopping trees. One can almost picture Modi saying, Mitro, my government wants citizens to involve the diaphragm to separate the thoracic from the abdominal cavity and contract via phrenic nerves to allow gases to move in and out of pulmos. And Rahul Gandhi immediately responding, we oppose this. Roll it back or I'll make India burn. Until Shashi Tharoor friendly telling him, sir, Modi is talking of breathing. No, but seriously, what is the opposition up to? Do they want India to fail because then they can say India has failed because Modi was running it? And the fact of the matter is, Anand, India's relationship with Cyprus holds tremendous strategic, economic and geopolitical significance. It is fostering mutual growth and cooperation. Cyprus, by the way, is a member of the European Union. It serves as a gateway for India to access the European market and strengthen trade ties. The island nation's strategic location in the Eastern Mediterranean enhances its role as a hub for maritime trade and connectivity, aligning with India's ambition to expand its global trade footprint. Cyprus' robust financial services sector and favorable tax regime also make it attractive destination for Indian investors. Look, the fact of the matter is corroborative efforts in defense, collaborating on maritime security, intelligence sharing can enhance regional stability. Is that not what opposition wants India to do? And finally, let us not forget that this visit might also be a subtle slight against Turkey that is now openly in bed with the terror state of Pakistan. And we know what Turkey has done as far as Cyprus is concerned, usurped half of the Cyprus. So maybe that is why the Congress is miffed.
Cham Prasad Mika, quick response there.
Okay. So I don't want to give legitimacy to those allegations by responding to them. But in general, so Cyprus, when did Congress say we don't want good relations with Cyprus? When did Congress say Cyprus, it doesn't matter? Right? So we need good relations.
Exactly.
Yeah, our Prime Minister is there, let him do his job.
You did.
about
That's
it.
exactly what you said.
The whole point.
That's exactly why we are having this debate right now, Mr. Mecca, because that is exactly what Congress said. You took petty pot shots. There's no need for Anand to be discussing this as a debate. It would have just been the news headline. It's become a debate because Congress is playing petty politics yet again. I want to repeat that FOMO thing. How much FOMO? How much fear of Modi ji going abroad and strengthening India's position? How much fear are you going to entertain? And I want to come back to the word surrender again and again. Congress needs to do something about it because I'm speaking calmly, but my blood boils at the very mention of that word. It hurts me and it's going to continue to hurt me till one of you take a stand against it, put out a statement and apologize to our country. Please do that. Don't do this again and again. Because if we get into the history of surrender, even I can go back at the time when Nehru ji gave away POK and Indira Gandhi ji, after dividing Pakistan into two, which you love to talk about, did not take back our prisoners of war. Even then, she did not even ask for a paper to be signed about POK. She went into Pakistan and then let it go. She let it go along with our prisoners of war. What did you do for your country? Stop telling me about what you did to Pakistan. Tell me what did you do for Bharat? That you cannot say, and yet you throw this word around every single day. Every debate in the last couple of weeks comes to this word surrender, and I cannot object enough. You have to apologize.
Anand, can I?
Yeah.
Can I just?
Yes.
No, yeah.
It's
in all
more than
honesty,
yeah.
no. In all
It's
honesty,
a
I would have
mindset. Your
preferred-
mindset is negative. You do not want India to succeed because every single time Rahul Gandhi
There
is on a global stage.
there is the reference to what Dr. Ranganathan said before the thoracic mention
Yeah.
about
But it is
breathing,
true, Anand.
where he said that the transmogrification of
Yes.
Modi hatao
Anand, I'll give you examples.
to
I'll
Bharat
give you
Badnaam.
examples.
So
Today-
that hate for Modi has transmogrified
Yeah. So
into
today
hatred for
India is
hatred for
hailing
Bharat.
made in India drones.
Anand
Yeah.
Ranganathan wanted to make an intervention.
No, I just, Charu, of course, a very dear friend, and what she says, of course, that is her party's view. But I just want to say this. I actually fervently wish that Mr. Meka should have been in that delegation that went in the wake of, what we did in Operation Sindoor, representing the Congress and the party and this country. Because the point of the matter is, I don't want Mr. Meka to be subservient to the Congress's view. He is a fervent independent as far as his views is concerned. But the tragedy is, he would have faced the same music as Dr. Tharoor, as Salman Khurshid ji and Manish Tiwari ji are facing for saying that we stand with India, not just with any party. And I know Mr. Meka has the same views. I know that he supports India. I know he supports India against the view of Congress. As far as surrender and Operation Sindoor is concerned, please ask him. Please ask him.
No. You are putting very nicely a question. I am supporting India against my party stand. What kind of a debate is that?
No,
I need to say yes or no. So, come on. Your viewers are not so naive.
No.
Okay?
You are also not so naive, sir. I'm just either if you are supporting Bharat, then you don't believe in the original surrender comment. Correct. If you are supporting Congress
India,
party, then you are saying
I
the
am
original
supporting
surrender
Congress
comment
party
is okay.
Because of that, the nationalism is ingrained in
So
me.
that means you are saying the original surrender comment is wrong. Correct.
That I don't even need to comment on somebody's comment in some social media.
No,
What
no,
is that?
sir, you have to
Rahul
see,
Gandhi.
sir, you have to see the,
It is your
you have to
official
see,
social
you have to
media,
see
again and again.
you have to see the fact that his person is a certified member of the Congress party, and he is seen very close to Mr. Rahul Gandhi, and he's standing there with a picture of Mr. Rahul Gandhi and putting this out.
So what? Rahul Gandhi has pictures with hundreds, thousands of people.
My point is, sir, when Mr. Rahul Gandhi is involved, the Congress should have reacted. They should have either sent a show cause notice to this Mr. Reddy, or told him to apologize, take down the post. Something should have been done. And that too when? Not when he is posted. This is when Mr. Amit Malviya has put it out. The Congress watches the BJP handles more than its own handles. Correct. They have not reacted after that also. Then what should we say?
We
Anand,
don't
just 2
believe in uniformizing
when
the
you
opinions
when
in
somebody
the
is
people.
committing something wrong, one
Okay.
person looks the other way. Now, is that person guilty or innocent?
Anand, just
No,
5
but,
seconds.
why are you so reductionist, Anand? For everything, so for everything a person does, he should be either guilty or innocent. Arey, come on, why are we so reductionist, Anand?
Please explain to me in the court of law or in
Bail.
either,
It can be
either you are
normal.
guilty
Bail,
or you are
bail.
innocent. There can't be an
So-
in between.
so-
There is no grey area.
So when,
There is a bail,
when
bail.
I'm coming to your show,
there
Anand,
is nothing
it's a
called
court of
innocent,
law.
sir. It's not there in the lexicon.
Court of law. We are just exchanging. We are doing a dialogue.
So I am
No,
also.
Anand,
Sir,
Anand,
am I
Anand,
not
Anand,
allowed to
court
ask
of
you a
law.
question? It's based on
Anand,
rational and logic only. Yes, Dr. Ranganathan, I have to wind up after this. Ji.
Now, as I said, as much as I value Charu, I value Mr. Meka. So I ask him in all honesty, and I'm sure he'll answer very transparently. Mr. Meka, would you not like to know the details of the MOU? Had the MOU been signed by the BJP with the Communist Party of China? Yes or no?
Obviously, I would love to know everything about my party. What is there? So bring it out. No. Why? If there is an MOU, bring it out. Ask Modi ji to send a notice to Congress party to pull it off.
Why does the notice
What
have to
is
be
there?
sent? Why can't
So
you
that
yourself
means
ask the Congress party to share it with
Why
you?
will I
And you can
ask
share it
based
with
on
them.
your propaganda?
No, sir, not our.
Why will I ask
You
based
want to
on
know,
your
you said.
There are
propaganda?
photographs
just-
of the
you
signing of the
just-
MOU.
Right.
Ekadi, you just now said,
I
you
will-
just now said as a Congress party worker, you would want to know what your party is doing. For you to know what your party is doing and the contents of your MOU, why does Modi ji have to send a notice to the Congress party? You
I
do
know
it.
what my party is doing. I don't need to question my party based on.
But do you know what are the contents? Then
what
you
your
must know the
propaganda
contents of the
machinery is
MOU
saying.
of that
Then you know the
2007
contents
MOU.
of the MOU.
Then you must know the content. You don't, sir. That means you don't know what your party is doing. You
What
can't
is
say,
the
you can't,
2007?
like I said, sir, you can't say that, okay, left side dhol,
The way-
right side dhol. Ek dhol kis taraf se bhi bajao, whichever is convenient. That's
By
not possible.
simply-
You
by
have to have a
simply
rationale.
mentioning-
Sir, there is no innocent. You are guilty or innocent. So there are no grey areas in this case. So
By
please.
simply mentioning
Charu
things,
Prakash.
offhand,
No, no,
like
you are-
2007
see,
MOU, you can't etch it in the minds of people as if
I
there is
totally
something.
appreciate.
That's
I
what
totally
you are trying to
appreciate
do.
your inspiration. And you're quoting some very weighted words from the dictionary, but that they also have to mean something. And when it
I'm
comes
learning-
back
I'm
at you,
learning
you have
from
to be able to answer those questions. Yes. Final word, Charu Pragya.
Yes. So,
So
it's
along
not
with the
just this-
optics, what is the strategic move that Bharat is going to achieve? Oh, Turkey is back Pakistan. We will back Cyprus. What next?
No, it's not just that. And because Cyprus is also a very key part of the European Union on UN, that is what it heads. It is also very strategically located in the Eastern Mediterranean. India is making sure that our place in the rest of the world remains firm and strong, and the opposition can only nitpick every time the Prime Minister takes a decision to do something strong. But the fact is,
Right.
a red carpet is being rolled out for our country, all the way from DC to Tokyo to Ottawa. We have a seat at the decision-making table, at the most powerful table in the world, and we are shaping global policy now, whether it is climate, whether it is tech, whether it is defense. That's
Well-
where we are, and I think that's why Congress has a problem.
Well, we
Lastly,
soon-
their social media handles or those of their followers, this is not once or twice, it's dozens and dozens of times. From Sir Tan Se Juda to making fun of the Rafale with the Nimbu Mirchi, they do this time and time again with zero remorse and zero pulling up and disciplining from the party. It's the party stand.
Well, I have to wind up on that note, but just with a forewarning that in the next 24 to 36 hours, there is a different kind of carpet that is being rolled over in Canada, and it's largely yellow in color, and that's something that the government and the Prime Minister will have to openly deal with. And we will speak about that in the next 24 to 36 hours. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Have to wind up on that note. Moving on, here on The Right Stand. It's 3 days and counting, with no end to the military conflict between Israel and Iran. Israel has expanded its military targets, striking key oil and gas facilities in Iran, raising fears of economic warfare and regional destabilization. Panic has gripped Tehran, with residents fleeing the capital. Sunday saw at least 13 casualties, including children, and hundreds injured in Israel. Israel has defended its strikes as self-defense against Iran's nuclear ambitions, Israel has claimed that it has achieved aerial superiority over Tehran and has control of the skies from western Iran to the capital. It has also said that the Israeli Air Force has destroyed a third of Iran's ballistic missile launchers and eliminated 4 top Iranian intelligence commanders in the strikes. US President Donald Trump has warned of unprecedented military force if Iran retaliates against American assets in the region, while Britain has moved jets to the Middle East in preparation for contingency operations. Also, the US has also moved its aircraft carrier, another aircraft carrier, the USS Nimitz, from the South China Sea, positioning it once again in the Gulf region. And Iran, meanwhile, is in the process of moving a litigation that allows, and by its parliament gets sanction to move out or of the non-proliferation treaty of which it is a signatory. These are very ominous signs. Are these two nations slowly moving to nuclear precipice as missile strikes continue? That's the question. We've got news coming through. Benjamin Netanyahu has further said that Israel is on the way to destroying both Iranian and nuclear missile threats. Professor Brahma Chelani is with us. Namaste, Professor Chelani. Your thoughts, sir, on this entire Israel-Iran conflict. Is there some, because Benjamin Netanyahu has also said that he has intelligence, confirmed intelligence, that Iran was planning to hand over nuclear warheads to the Houthis.
Israel, Anand, has a long record of bombing nuclear facilities or suspected nuclear facilities in other regional countries as part of a strategy to remain the sole nuclear weapon state in the Middle East. This strategy has been a cornerstone of Israel's national security doctrine. But the problem with this strategy is that every time Israel has bombed a nuclear facility or a suspected nuclear facility, the country which has been bombed has taken its nuclear program underground. It goes back to 1981, the Osirak reactor bombing in Iraq. That led Saddam Hussein to take his nuclear program underground, and it eventually led to the 2003 US invasion and occupation of Iraq under the false pretext of dismantling weapons of mass destruction. Those weapons of mass destruction were never found in Iraq. Similarly, in 2007, Israel attacked a suspected nuclear facility in Syria. That bombing did not end Syria's nuclear ambitions. Similarly now, the danger is that by taking on Iran, which is a far more formidable state than Iraq or Syria ever were, Israel could end up creating a wounded adversary that is more determined than ever to acquire nuclear weapons. And I think the way things are going, and the Israeli Prime Minister's own National Security Advisor on Israeli television acknowledged a couple of days ago that Iran's nuclear program cannot be destroyed by military means alone. He suggested that the only way to dismantle that nuclear program of Iran is through a US-sponsored nuclear deal. But the path to nuclear diplomacy has been shattered by Israel's attack on Iran. And therefore, the danger arises of the Israeli attack actually contributing to the rise of a nuclear Iran.
But how does this bode in the near term, mid-term and long term? You've outlined the strategy and the thought process. The Iranians don't seem to want to relent. Trump has indicated already that what will remain of the erstwhile Iranian empire or empire of Persia, the Persian Empire, is not going to be much if this continues. So what's the end game here?
Well, Trump is in danger of repeating the mistake of his first term when he applied, quote unquote, maximum pressure on Iran But that maximum pressure strategy of Trump in the first term backfired. It made Iran accelerate its nuclear program. Now, Trump is pretending to be a peacemaker, while actually he's fueling Israel's war against Iran. The danger is that if you don't think long term, and if your objectives are only short term, and this has often happened with Israel, because being a democracy, the Israeli leaders want to show to their people what they have achieved by employing force. So often long-term objectives have been compromised in search of short-term victories. Here also, I think the danger is this, that Iran on one side, as you know, has a record of enduring major losses. It fought a 10-year war with Iraq, 10-year war. But in Israel, being a democracy, the public already, from 2 years of war, already is war weary. We have seen how in recent months, much before the Israeli attack on Iran, how Israeli reservists are not reporting for duty because they are against the war. There is a war weariness in Israel, and if this attack on Iran becomes an extended war, this will have important implications for Israeli society and for Israeli politics, because Israel is geared for short-term conflicts, for achieving quick victories. But the attack on Iran could actually turn into a protracted military conflict that could exact heavy toll economically and in terms of human lives, both for Iran and for Israel. But I think the real danger is that a wounded Iran could become a more potent threat to Israel.
But in this case, Iran did not relent. Even before Trump's turn, they were promoting the Hamas. They backed the Islamic Jihad groups. They backed the groups in Iraq. They backed the Houthis. This is not a recent phenomenon. It's been on for more than 2 decades. The entire network of tunnels and weapon systems that the Hamas had accumulated, it was all because of Iran. So if Iran now becomes a nuclear power, how is that going to bring any stability in the region?
No, it's not. The question is not about stability. The question is about geopolitics. Because as India discovered when it came under sanctions for pursuing a nuclear program, there are no international rules. It's not a rules-based order. It's all about geopolitics. It's all about right makes right, might makes right. It's all about alliances. It's about power projection. The issue is this, which we should not forget.
But you understand this, Brahmachalaniji, that the agenda of Israel is not to wipe out Iran. But Iran's objective and quasi-Hamas's objective in its doctrine was to eliminate all Jews from Israel. So who's got the agenda here which is far more devious and dangerous? So if Iran becomes a nuclear power, you know what will happen then? The next day, at the first trigger, they will attempt to wipe out the Jews. Do they really care for geopolitics here?
Well, that's been the Israeli government's argument. But just see how Israel is waging war. It began by striking nuclear facilities. Then it began striking military facilities. Now it's striking economic infrastructure in Iran, including oil depots, energy production sites. It's even hitting civilian aviation hubs. It is striking Iran's manufacturing plants.
Right.
So clearly, what Israel is seeking to achieve, as Netanyahu, as maybe Netanyahu has said,
right,
it's not just wiping out Iran's nuclear ambitions. He is seeking, in his own words, regime change in Tehran. Now, this is a dangerous game, because once you embark on regime change operation, you expand your war aims. This is what Israel is doing right now.
True.
You potentially can face a situation that actually is counterproductive to your own interests. So I as a friend of Israel, I'm concerned that Israel's war aims, first, are not very clear and very expansive, and two, that the pursuit of these not too clear war aims could result in Israel's long-term security being compromised because the rise of a
wounded Iran is far more dangerous. Yeah, that's what they're trying.
A wounded ally is more dangerous than an ally that has been wiped out or been subjugated fully.
Right. Got your point, Professor Brahmachalani. Thank you very much. Very different, interesting perspective there. Near term, mid term, and long term. And this may, if Israel walks down this path, may prove detrimental to it in the long term, is what Professor Chalani is saying. Let's get a move on and closer home. And this is gripped our senses to understand what actually happened, that tragedy with AI-171 over the Ahmedabad skies shortly after takeoff. The investigation into that crash continues with both Indian and US teams working to piece together the final moments of the crash. The black box, along with its component cockpit voice recorder, has now been recovered. A joint team led by the DGCA is closely examining aircraft components, while the US and UK teams are conducting an independent probe under international protocols. Meanwhile, a crucial meeting on civil aviation security was chaired by the Union Home Secretary. The meeting was brought together top officials from civil aviation, Home Affairs, disaster relief, intelligence agencies, forensic experts, and also the Indian Air Force. Sources say the panels will review SOPs or SOPs and is even likely to visit the crash site soon. The lens is now on the RAT, the Ram Air Turbine System. Did it fail to deter the crash? Had the aircraft had some more altitude, could the story have been different? And what led to the dual engine failure? We try and decode that further. The tragedy left all of us shocked. How is it that a Dreamliner that was just taking off at 625 feet would just crash down? There were many who tried to blame the pilots. Now, there is a video that's emerged that was perhaps one of the first videos that was shot by a youngster, we are given to understand, that actually gives the sound of a different motor or a turbine that is actually working, not just the aircraft's engines. From there emerges this entire aspect of RAT, or the Ram Air Turbine. Not the Ram Aviation Turbine, but the Ram Air Turbine. What is the Ram Air Turbine? What is its function? Is it present in every aircraft, or is it a feature for some of the bigger aircrafts like the 787, Boeing 787 Dreamliner? We have Captain Saurabh Bhatnagar joining us. Captain, thank you very much. Can you first explain to our viewers what is RAT?
RAT is actually, it's called Ram Air Turbine, which is as a backup system for a power generation. It is there almost all the commercial aircraft. It is the last resort, I would say, when all the power generation fails in the aircraft, which includes your generators, it includes your, the APU, that is auxiliary power unit. So it's the end result. After the RAT comes the batteries. So this is basically, it's in most of the aircraft, it is deployed automatically. But in some aircraft like Airbus 320, you can deploy the RAT manual also. But 787, it is deployed automatically. When it senses there is no power generation.
There is no power. So we just go back to that frame behind this. It is somewhere behind.
Yes, it is behind the landing gear. Yes,
that's what it is.
Yes, that's
it's right behind
on the right hand side of the.
And how does it actually look? It looks like a propeller.
It looks like a small propeller with a with a fan in front of it. Basically, that is getting the drawing the air from the free air, and that propeller is turning, and which in turn is generating the power, and which goes to the central system. So
it works like a generator.
It's like a generator, yeah. It's like just like a windmill. Our windmill, we in Hindi we call it the pavan chakki something. Exactly on the same principle, it works like that.
It works like that. Absolutely. What does it do? What does it do? If you look at
what it does, when it generates, it's basically a turbine which is being driven by air at a very high speed.
Speed.
Yes.
So let's say this was at just 625 feet. Now we've just tried to create an animation. Okay. This was the Boeing aircraft, the AI-171, that took off, and it reached a maximum height of 625 feet.
Absolutely.
And that's where this entire RAT actually was seen as deployed. This is where it is, the Ram air turbine, not the aviation turbine. But at 625 feet, had the aircraft been a little higher, would this have helped save the tragedy or prevent? Could it have helped the pilots?
Yes, absolutely. Well, looks like to be, because aircraft was heavy with full fuel. It was taking off with a full all of weight. So had there been a bit more of I would say the height availability to, because Ram air turbine, when it even if it generates power, it gives power to the 787 central power system. That is the that drives the flight controls and basically all the critical systems available. But that itself, but the power generated by Ram, the RAT, is only for temporary till the time the APU comes on.
No.
So APU takes around 60 to 90 seconds.
What is APU?
APU is auxiliary power unit.
Auxiliary
which
power
you see on the tail, you see that cone is there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
cone,
that is
this
not that.
cone.
Yeah, this is the one.
This,
yes,
this is
yes.
the auxiliary power
unit. Yeah,
okay.
the exhaust is there at the tail end. Yes.
Right.
So that comes on the moment the power generation loss is there in 787. The moment all there are 4 generators, 2 on each engines.
Right.
So every engine has got 2 generators. So all 4, if fails, auxiliary power unit engine automatically starts up.
Automatically start. I just, for our viewers, just want to show
this drops down.
So this drops down. This is the RAT. Looks like a propeller and a turbine.
Yes,
It
yes.
just.
So
and you're
both
saying
of
in
them.
787 it automatically drops.
Both the things automatically. In both it starts automatically. But what I was reading through the documents, it takes 60 to 90 seconds for the APU to. It's an engine. It takes time.
Okay. Let me just quickly ask you. You've flown the A320 also.
Yes.
That's the Airbus. In
Yes.
that. Is this RAT
Absolutely
there in
same.
every aircraft?
That's correct.
So,
Most of the yes.
most of the aircraft. But you're saying you in the A320 or an Airbus or any other aircraft,
A320 you can deploy manually.
manually.
Yes.
You deploy manually.
Here you cannot deploy manually.
Here it is not deployed manually. It is deployed automatically.
As the moment it senses loss of all generator
Okay.
power.
And let me ask you. I was coming to you there. What are the circumstances that this will get deployed?
So this will get deployed whenever the sensor senses there is no power generation going to the AC buses.
There's no power generation.
The moment power generation, this will drop down and the APU will start automatically. But APU will take 60 to 90 seconds. In the meantime, what happens is this, because this comes down around 6 to 8 seconds, because there will be total blackout. So when the blackout means not for the cabin, it blackout for all the displays of the pilots. It takes 5 to 6 seconds. The powers of the displays, the communication, the controls, the basic minimum requirement, critical systems. The moment the APU comes online, the APU takes over from the
When
RAT.
does a power suddenly go off? Does that happen when both the engines fail?
Yeah. So it is. See, the thing is, the generators develop power from the engines. So the moment the engines run, it gives power. It's an engine-driven generator.
Yeah.
So from there, the GCU, called generator control unit, anything can fail. The generator itself can fail, but if the engine fails, definitely generators will fail because they are drawing power from the engines.
Okay, now viewers, this is critical. This deploys within 6 to 8 seconds.
Yes, that's
but
what I
you
found
say that the APU, the auxiliary power unit, takes 60 to 90 seconds.
to come online.
But
yes.
the eventuality here at 625 feet was that takeoff to crash, the whole duration was just 44 seconds. So that was not enough time for the APU to kick in.
Yes, no. I saw the crash photograph of the tail section. I saw the input, the air intake for this APU is on top. So it was top of the fuselage. That air intake door was open. It means that the APU had started, but it took time for APU. couldn't come online.
It's
Yes.
too late. So
It's
let
too
me
late.
ask you. This is at 625 feet.
Yes.
Had this been say about 1500 feet?
100%.
Could there have been perhaps a chance to
100%.
turn back and land?
Absolutely.
Or
See, the moment APU comes online, it'll take over the complete power generation. It is sufficient to give the primary. What I would feel is that the people are saying there's a fuel starvation. Now, when you take off in a Dreamliner, any engine basically, Dreamliner, there are 3 tanks. There's one left tank, one is right tank, one is central tank. The central tank utilizes the fuel for the takeoff. So the fuel goes from central tank. But unfortunately, the Ram air turbine RAT connection is not directly to the center. It doesn't give power to the central tank fuel pumps.
Central tank fuel pumps.
In emergency, it gives the power to the one pump in each left and the right wing tank.
So what happens from here on? We've just frozen this. Is that because it was at 625 feet, even though the rat had deployed. Clearly that means there was an engine failure, dual engine failure that had happened, but there was not enough time for the APU to kick in, and there was not enough elevation that even if there is a little bit of drop in altitude, the aircraft or the pilot can recover the aircraft, turn around and land it, because it was just 625 feet. A gap of say about 90 seconds of time had it been there for the whole crew. 60 to 90 seconds had it been there, a little
But
more or
that
some more
again,
height.
it doesn't answer the engine failure. The aircraft
Engine-
still go down.
The aircraft could have gone, because if there
The
was
aircraft
engine-
still go down. There is no, the power would have come in,
Huh.
but there's no thrust in the engine. The aircraft still will go down.
the aircraft will still. But is it possible for, could it have
Depends
been that
upon
it could
height.
have glided
Yes.
back and somewhere come
Absolutely.
back?
Depends.
And it depends. Now, as a pilot, let me ask you, when you are going, when you're about to take off, or let's say you land at a destination, what kind of checks does the aircraft go through? And is there an indicator of something is wrong
At the landing?
at landing and before the next flight?
No, in case
between
anything,
flights.
you see, these days there are very high technology, high advanced aircraft. Everything is computerized. They've got backup computers also as well. Anything which is there with the computer senses, it comes up on the screen. Any caution, any malfunctioning also is known to us in the air or on ground whenever it happens. Now it depends upon the criticality of that malfunction.
No, I'm just saying soon after takeoff for engine to fail.
It will definitely that
So something like that, how rare is it, or
It
how
is,
much of a possibility is it?
See, the possibility is very less, the rarest of the rare, both engines getting failed. We are trained, every 6 months we go to simulator, we are trained on single engine failure at the time of takeoff. That is the most critical time when the aircraft is about to lift off, and then we have one engine failure. All the aircraft are tested, proven and released for online for only when they can take off with single engine, with full all-up weight and clear their gradient, the climb gradient. Otherwise, they'll not be cleared for commercial flying. So even with one engine, 787 Dreamliner is sufficient. With one engine full power, it would have taken off safely.
So then let me ask you, in your experience, what is the possibility and how is it possible that an aircraft is able to taxi out, covers the entire journey of about 5-7 minutes. It's running on fuel, its turbines are on, and it is burning aviation fuel. It comes up the tarmac, and then as it takes off, there is engine failure. Now, what is the possibility and what can trigger it?
So the possibility of dual engine failure is bird hit. That if you fly through the flock of birds and simultaneously, like what happened in the US Airways, that's one, but we didn't see any birds over here. We don't know. The second possibility, which I feel, is the fuel contamination, because the fuel starvation, not contamination, fuel starvation.
Fuel starvation,
Yes.
not contamination. You're saying fuel starvation. That means that there was not enough
Starvation because of the contamination, maybe. It's not, fuel is available in the fuel is available in the aircraft. There is no,
it was actually carrying 2 hours of additional
carrying
fuel
it,
according to
yeah,
some
so it's
reports,
going on
and that's
full
why
fuel.
the explosion happened, because it was fully
initial
fully tanked
explosion,
up.
what you saw and what the black smoke was of fuel. Anything
Was the
which
fuel.
after that burns, that is electrical wiring, it's all white smoke. So initial smoke, what black is of fuel.
Is of fuel.
Yes. So now
And the plumes of smoke that we
Yes,
saw
that we
after
saw was the
crash
fuel.
showed that it was there. It had a whole
Fuel,
lot.
yes.
So now what do you mean by fuel contamination or fuel starvation?
fuel starvation means that the fuel is there, but it is not going to the engine. So either the fuel lines are ruptured, or the fuel lines are blocked because of the water contamination, or some air bubbles, or something which is blocking the fuel line. The filters are blocking something which is blocking the fuel from going from the tanks to the engines.
Okay, so allow me to please push you here as a layman, as somebody who's done air travel. One of the things that happens is that when the aircraft is out and it's pushed back, the pushback has happened. It happens manually because there is this. But then the turbines start kicking in, the engines start kicking in, and there is a huge amount of aviation fuel that is burnt even with the taxiing off, getting onto the runway, and then the takeoff. So how could that happen if there was fuel contamination or filters?
Yeah, I got your point. I tell you, the aircraft which are fly 320, initially during the startup, right, both the engines get their fuel from their respective tanks. I'm not aware about the 787 Dreamliner. 320, they get individual from the wing tanks. They get individual fuel. But at the time of the takeoff, because to avoid single engine failure because of any fuel starvation or something, the center tank provides fuel to both the engines simultaneously. So that the possibility of single engine or left or right engine getting fuel starved or something fuel, that is ruled out. Single point of, this is also in the Dreamliner, the center tank which is in the fuselage, that supplies initially for the takeoff, that supplies fuel to both the engines. So because that delivering is at the higher power. So basically the fuel from the center tank is used first so as to avoid the wing loading.
But if there was any contamination...
So if there is any contamination in the central tank, that will lead to, that's what my theory is.
But won't the computer systems flag it off? That if there is a filtration issue, if there is a water issue?
Should. I'm just saying what exactly, no, the water issue is...
Or air block or, you know.
that will, I don't think so. But I'm not aware, I'm just saying. So what I get see from my experience from Airbus 320, Dreamliner, generally it is more of the same. Okay? So what I can, I'm not saying it again, the
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Do you believe, Shyam Prasad Mekhaji, that Galwan is the original surrender?
See, somebody put some tweet. I'm not here to defend or endorse all those tweets. I speak about my party's stand, and I speak for myself. Who is this guy? I don't even know him. So okay. So we pick up something from the social media. We pick up some photograph with some big leaders, and make a huge issue out of it. Don't be childish. We need to grow up. So that's the one issue. Second, so about, again, this is also a similar issue, like the garlanding thing. Come on, you know better than that. You know better than that. If we want to do a drama, there are people who does the drama, there are people who does it honestly. Okay, so it's not about, while putting the flowers, one hand is where, one hand is where. What kind of political discourse we are doing? We should be talking about our issues. Let's do politics. Let's do that discourse on the political issues. Whose image is better? Who shall we trust? So what do you mean to say? People should not trust anybody from Congress? That's not the question. We trust everybody. We trust Indians. We trust Indian system. That's the premise on which we operate. So that's the premise which you are trying to tear down into pieces.
Okay, Shyam Prasad Mekhaji, the question is, whom should the people of Bharat trust, public trust, with respect to furthering Bharat's interests? Now,
every other Indian.
Okay, I didn't interrupt you.
Yeah.
May I complete? Then I'll go to the other panelists also. Actions speak louder than words. A picture speaks 1,000 words. Now, these pictures say something. Actions, attitude, approach mean something. The other aspect you totally moved away. The aspect of brazen political appeasement and accepting the support of a party that was hailing and celebrating Ajmal Kasab along with the others. How does that escape? How can somebody, an entity which is endorsing all this, does not bother? This person who you said is some random person has Rahul Gandhi's picture there on his profile picture and claims to be a very serious party worker. He hails from the Andhra region, Andhra Telangana region, and he has put that. There is no clarification, no admonition from a party, which is something which is concerning. This despite the BJP's IT cell chief raising this up and highlighting it. So, for a party leader whose media cell chief knows every single detail of where the Prime Minister is, which country he is, where he's touched down, where he's landed, and there is an opinion of that which is per se. When this is put out, how did it escape notice? is a question, or did it not matter? That's why these questions have been asked. Charu Pragya, do you agree with Shyam Prasad Meka? Much ado about nothing. Very Shakespearean in his attitude. You're on mute, Charu Pragya.
My apologies, Anand. Good evening.
We are very
to you
democratic.
and-
We don't suppress anybody's voice. Please go ahead.
Absolutely. Good evening. Namaste to everyone. Now, the issue here is, and the problem here is that even after 21 years in public life, if Rahul Gandhi cannot even manage to garland a national hero with respect, something's really wrong with him and with the Congress party for not pulling him from the position he's been enjoying. Because of what? Dynasty?
Good evening, you're watching Brass Tacks. I'm Zakir Jacob. What exactly happened to flight AI 171 Ahmedabad to London? It's going to be a week now since that terrible, terrible tragedy in which 241 out of 242 people on board died. The black boxes, that is both the CVR, the cockpit voice recorder, and what is called the DFR, both have been recovered. The FDR, which is the flight data recorder, both now have been recovered. The black box essentially contains these two components, the cockpit voice recorder and the flight data recorder. What do they exactly store, and what is it that the information that they